So to blow off steam, as we see, just means to relax and release the pressure affecting you.
So you're not blowing the steam off your hot cup of coffee?
Not exactly. It's almost like letting the steam out of you before you blow up.
Like a train or something like that.
Or a boiler, yes.
There you go.
Okay, so this trend even led to the design of a special type of hotel, the capsule hotel. So this idea of going out and partying hard actually led to the creation of something. So when we use this phrase lead to, past tense led to, it means to result in something or cause something to happen.
Very interesting. Well, these hotels, these capsule hotels, also called pod hotels, were first built in Osaka, Japan in the 1970s.
Okay.
So they've been around for quite a long time, but interestingly didn't start in Tokyo.
No.
Started in the second city of Japan, Osaka, which still has millions and millions of people. Very big city.
Okay, so a pod is kind of like this small area where, it's like peas grow in a pod.
That's right.
It's enclosed.
People went to the moon in a space
in a
pod.
Yeah. Now, the size of an individual pod is small. Okay, it's 2 meters long and about 1 meter high and wide. So it's almost like a big bathtub that you're getting into.
Basically.
And this is where people sleep and stay. That is the capsule hotel.
So we were talking about the capsules that you'll stay in these capsule hotels. Think of it as your hotel room, and we gave you the size. It's about 2 meters by about 1 meter and 1 meter high. But we use this adjective individual, I-N-D-I-V-I-D-U-A-L. Individual basically means one thing, one specific thing. It might be part of a group, but this is the one that we are talking about. For example, if you had a bunch of grapes and you take one grape, this would be one individual grape. There might be 40 individual grapes making up that bunch of grapes. So in each capsule hotel, there could be many, many rooms, of course, for many, many different guests, but when you rent one, you'll have your own individual capsule hotel. Your own, you won't be sharing with others.
Okay, so that is the individual rooms, and as we found, they are very, very small.
Yes, they are.
But the article says, yet they give white-collar workers a cheap place to sleep after an evening out. Okay, so it's great for them. They can go and just sleep there. It's very small. They don't mind. It's just a place to stay, and it's cheap, which is great. Now, there we talked about white collar. First, we should talk about the word collar, C-O-L-L-A-R, collar, and it's this thing, the part around the neck on a shirt or a jacket or a blouse. So we could say Matt turned his collar up to protect his neck from the wind. Now, we used it in the context of white-collar worker. A white-collar worker is a worker who works in an office, okay, a kind of admin or office job. Blue-collar workers are usually in factories, and I've heard the phrase pink collar to mean somebody who works in the hospitality or service industry, like restaurant and hotel jobs.
Right.
But white-collar workers is basically office workers. And these collars and these colours refer to the typical shirt or blouse worn by those workers. They wear a white shirt to work in the office. It's a white-collar job.
Very interesting. And of course, Japan has many, many large cities, so these capsule hotels were great for white-collar workers because it says they originally cost less than the travel fare to housing areas. So if you finished spending time with your boss and it was very late, you could pay for that late train, get home, but maybe only sleep 4 or 5 hours before you have to get up and come back to the office. Well, why don't you just stay downtown in a capsule hotel? It's a little bit cheaper and you'll save a lot of time. You'll get a better night's sleep because traveling in Japan, like in many countries, can be expensive. What's expensive? The fare. F-A-R-E. Fare. It's a noun. Basically, it means the money that you pay to use some kind of transportation. You could talk about the price of your ticket on an airplane as your airplane fare, but generally we use it for buses and trains trains and taxis, things like that, where the cost is quite a bit lower, and you might not even get a ticket. You just put your money in and the gates open and you walk in and sit down on the bus or train or something like that. For example, the bus fare is lower for students and senior citizens. A lot of people pay 15 NT, maybe for students it's 10 or something like that.
So, on to the present, that's the past, that's where capsule hotels came from.
What a great idea.
Yeah, it is now. We say today, capsule hotels provide much more than just places to sleep. So they're no longer just these kind of cheap, easy places to crash for the night and go back to work. There's something a little bit more.
That's right. Here's an example of a modern capsule hotel. The Anshin Oyado Hotel in Tokyo features an artificial hot spring, so you can sit in a hot spring, saunas, so you can sit in that hot air and relax, and even a craft beer bar. So this is not a vending machine that might sell some drinks. This is a proper bar with maybe very special beer and other drinks for if you want to have a beer before bed. I don't know why, but some people would. This word feature is spelled F-E-A-T-U-R-E, and it's a verb. We often talk about something featuring something else. And the something else, the second thing, will be something special, something that might bring extra attention or extra interest to another thing. For example, we could talk about, oh, we can go to the baseball stadium. It features 2 or 3 good restaurants. Wow, so that's another extra special reason to go watch baseball. Not only will you see a great game, but you'll be able to eat some really delicious and special food. That will get even more people to go. It will bring even more attention to the thing that you're trying to tell people about. For example, this park features a number of statues of famous people who were born or lived in the city. That's quite special. So this modern capsule hotel in Tokyo featured the craft beer bar, saunas, and artificial hot springs.
Ooh,
well,
fancy.
Since Tokyo is in the middle, and it's a big city, maybe these aren't natural hot springs. Is that the idea?
That's right. They are artificial.
Okay.
Artificial is spelled A-R-T-I-F-I-C-I-A-L. Artificial, okay? And artificial means it's either not naturally occurring, so it doesn't appear in nature, or it can mean made by people rather than by nature. So it can be used in 2 different ways. So we could say the man lost his hand in an accident, so he got an artificial one. Exactly.
So robot hand.
He got a human-made hand. Now here we talked about an artificial hot spring. We know what a hot spring is.
Yep.
The capsule hotels also feature saunas. A sauna is a small room where the body can be refreshed by hot steam.
Very nice.
They're really
very
nice.
Relaxing. Yeah.
And there's also craft beer bars. A craft beer is special beer that's produced in small amounts and has either a stronger or a very different taste to regular beers.
Very, very interesting. So, if you need a relaxing time and maybe a little special drink, that sounds great. Well, next it says, the female-only Nadeshiko Hotel, also in the capital, supplies each guest with their own kimono during their stay. Wow, look at that. You get your own clothing. A kimono is sort of that Japanese long garment that you wrap around yourself. You can wear it when you're relaxing, and they have more formal ones that people might wear out for business meetings or parties or something like that. Very, very stylish. So if you're a stylish lady and you're in the capital of Japan, go stay at the Nadeshiko. Capital is spelled C-A-P-I-T-A-L. It's a noun. We can talk about the capital of a country. This is the city where the government is found. This is quite often the biggest city, in many ways the most important city, but certainly the city where the government meets, where the president might live. Some countries have a capital that is also the biggest city. England or Britain has London, France has Paris. Other places like America might have a couple of big cities. New York is the biggest city in America, but of course the capital where the president lives, that's Washington. That's where the government is found. And our example sentence features another big country with 2 important cities. Canberra is the capital of Australia, but it's a very small city. A lot of people know Sydney, but that's not where the government is, so it's not the capital.
Okay, now in that previous sentence, we also saw the phrase supply A with B.
Oh, they
It
supply you.
people with kimonos.
Ladies with kimonos.
Indeed. So to supply A with B means to give B to A as part of the normal service. For example, you could supply water to a room. That means you provide the room with water.
That's right.
Okay, let's get on to our next sentence. It says, with many pod hotels, also including guest lounges and social events, these places are no longer simply budget rooms. So they have lounges. A lounge is a public room where people can sit and rest and chat and relax and so on. But then these hotels have all sorts of cool stuff like lounges. So they're not just for budget travelers.
Absolutely. And budget is an adjective that basically means something that is cheaper than average, cheaper than you might expect. Yes, it won't cost you so much, but you also won't get a lot of the extra things you might if you pay more. For example, a lot of people might want to travel on a budget airline. It's great. You can fly around to lots of places and save some money, but you might not get food. You might only be able to take one bag. The seats might be a little smaller, but you'll save a lot of money when you travel budget or when you travel on a lower cost company.
Okay, the next sentence says, instead, they, the capsule hotels, provide a one-of-a-kind experience. One-of-a-kind with all these hyphens in, one-of-a-kind experience, it means it's unique. It's found only in this kind of place or this situation. Okay, now that's the end of our article for today. We'll come back tomorrow to talk about more things related to capsule hotels, but now it's time for today's For You chat question.